Hello, everybody. Hello to another day. Welcome to another day of Hello 2025. And today we do have Carrie Ann. Carrie is a New Earth doula, and she helps empower women to birth their New Earth vision. And I know that she's going to explain a little bit of that, but I also want to add that Carrie and I, we go back a little bit. And one of the things that I see her as a light sister. We are very connected. It's just insane because once we connect, it's like, oh my God, we can read the same energy. It's just super amazing. But truly what I love about her is the way that she serves the women that she serves, that she works with. And I'm just super excited that she's here today. Hi, Carrie.
Hi, Carla. I always love sitting down with you, and this feels really potent, really important for women to hear right now in 2025 is going to be so incredible when you choose the direction that you want to go in, right? It's really
Mm.
important to start to choose the pathway that you want to be on and stay the course.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. The power of choice. That's a
our
biggie.
choice. Absolutely.
So as I've told you before, it's gonna be 4 questions, and then you get to answer all of them. Are you ready?
Yeah, love it.
Awesome. So the first one is, what do you do? How do you serve people?
Oh, it's so multifaceted. And just the other day, I asked myself, okay, self, who are you now? Because it's changed so much. And basically what I do is I I awaken and activate the seeds of God, prosperity, abundance, divine love inside of women's hearts. And I really help them birth the vision that they have. I call it the inner dream inside of them that they've had since they took their first breath. It's the vision, the dream that God put inside of them. And I help them birth that into reality. We could also look at it. I help the fifth dimensional vision come into third dimensional form
Mm.
to make the dream manifest in physical reality. And I do that using a multitude of energetic tools, as well as leadership. And how do we as women lead ourselves to the lives that we desire? And this involves us going beyond our walls and our limitations. And it really requires us to be all that we came here to be and
Mm.
to make the choice to stay on God's pathway or to align with God's pathway and surrender to God's will so that God can actually do the heavy lifting. And my story, going back to when the time when we met, Carla, was that I actually had to lose everything and realize that it wasn't going to happen through Carrie's will. It was going to happen
Mm.
through God's will, that everything in my life was going to be resurrected, including me.
Mm.
Um, and I feel like this story that God brought me through in the chapter of my life over the past 10 years that God brought me through is really going to be a story that gets to be told globally, to inspire that when all things look like they are going to, you know, crumble, that really it is God bringing you through a process to align us with the will of God. And when you're aligned with the will of God, there is absolutely nothing that can't be created. So yeah, I call myself the New Earth doula because my early prophecy, going back 10 years, was the nourished mama. And that's when the seeds of my prosperity and myself as an oracle or a prophet woke up, and everything in my life started to become vividly clear that I was on the wrong pathway and that I needed to start making changes that were going to align me with happiness, joy, peace, wealth, love. And along that way, I discovered who I was. And
Mm.
I fell in love with myself and I fell in love with life and life fell in love with me. And so, um, yeah, that's that's me in a nutshell right now, today, because it
Beautiful,
changes. Yeah.
right? Um, so you went into the second question a little bit, but you can expand if you want to. The question is, what got you interested on what you do currently and how you got there?
Well, I got there because I was broken.
Mm.
And I call it my bathtub moment. I remember being a mom of two at the time, working full time as a teacher, and I was exhausted. I didn't know my marriage was falling apart, but I was holding on to dear life to try to fix everything, and I couldn't fix everything. So I would take a bath at night when my two kids were asleep, and I'd dream of either going underwater and like not coming back up, or I would dream of my other life. And I just
Mm.
knew that there was another life. I felt it was real. And so turns out I started to lean into creating that other life. And I made some choices to walk away from the things that were no longer serving me. Those were decisions that aligned me with the people, the situations, and the places that were going to help me fulfill myself and my dreams. I invested in myself and learned how to basically remother myself in a way that I learned love. I learned unconditional love. I started to understand how universal energy worked and traveled the world with you and some really powerful female leaders. And I realized that like I was this super, super powerful woman. I mean, I started to be clairvoyant. I started to see different dimensions. I started to heal spontaneously. And then I was able to do this for other people, and people who would come into my presence, they'd be like, wow, you're really powerful. And I would say, but I'm not really powerful.
Mm.
And I was kind of understanding how, you know, who I really was on the energetic level as a soul. Um, and it just started feeling so good. And I started to manifest. I mean, I started to make decisions, you know, specifically because I'm an entrepreneur, obviously. And I was like, okay, well, I want all high-end clients who pay me in full, right? And I started to manifest like money. It was wealth, right? I knew it as wealth. But then, you know, some things in my life started to go haywire. I lost custody of my kids. That turned my life upside down.
Mm.
And on the day that I found out that decision, I remember going to the top of a mountain I used to climb with my grandfather, who back then was my only connection to God. And I literally saw God in the sky saying, I
Mm.
am God. And at the same time, I was like grieving immensely up to this reality that I was losing. I somehow started to believe that something bigger was happening. And I started to trust that process. And as I trusted that process of aligning with God's will, aligning with God's way, the relationship that I had with my kids that I thought was broken, right? It actually started to get better and better as I started to heal my heart. And as I started to open up my heart to myself and treat myself the way that God wanted, wanted to treat me and wanted to pour love into me. As I just started to see these amazing things, these miracles happen. I was like, oh my God, of course I'm going to keep doing this. And I say that I plucked my soulmate, my beloved out of the quantum field because I understood that if you become the vibration of what you desire on the inside by
Mm.
unlocking love, then you will attract that. And so I spent a lot of time in this fairy tale world creating my fairy tale life, and lo and behold, it started to come true. You were there at my wedding when my husband and I got married, in Culebra under God. And during that portal that we were in, the retreat, I saw my husband and our bodies become a chalice of gold. And then I saw a reservoir of all God's wealth that was going to pour into us, right? But this is everybody has wealth that is held, it is there, it is the infinite wealth and infinite joy and infinite happiness, but our union created something really special for us and what we would do as our purpose together, which is to bring people back into the alignment with God, God's will, and receive God's promise, which God's promise is anything that you desire.
Mm.
So that was incredible. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is really my life. Um, and so, yeah, along the way, just amazing things have happened. And, some hard things have happened because you can't have, I don't want to say that all of this stuff happens because you sit at home and ask for it, but you don't do the work. I mean, part of God's process and how to receive God's promise is to allow the crumbling of what is not aligned with God to occur. And that's a humbling. That's where you have to say, well, you know what? It's not about me or how I want it to be, God. It's about how you intend it to be and whatever that process is and whatever that pathway is. And I'm willing to be on that pathway because it's even better than what you could ever imagine or think up in your mind. So,
Mm.
yeah, I did it because it feels good and I trust it. And it's the only thing that I trust right now is the pathway of God and like where it's going. Yeah.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you for sharing all that and going there, allowing
Yeah.
yourself to go there and express all that. So, moving into the third question is,
Mhm.
what has been your biggest, most profound shift or transformation, and how has it affected your life?
I think the biggest one recently has been letting go of the need to exert
Mm.
in order to create an outcome.
Mm.
So I found so the month of November was full of roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. And it was almost like I felt like I was in this tiny box and I felt like I was going back to all these old patterns and like forcing an outcome and like doing so because of fear, like, oh my gosh. And what I realized was that that was never, ever, ever going to work, ever
Mm.
for me. Um, and then what I did was I learned to surrender and even grieve the part of myself that once needed to be in that masculine role of like forcing and pushing to create an outcome,
Mm.
specifically in business. Um, I chose to lean in and understand and lean into the energy of the future. And the energy of the future taught taught me taught me and told me and instructed me, and I knew also know that this was God had already created everything that I wanted in that space, and that did manifest, and it was better than what it was. Like I created this amazing client and it was a pay in full client, but my husband all of a sudden on the couch says, oh my God, we're gonna get tickets to go to Universal Studio when we're gonna go with the whole family, like our blended family, which was something we've been forcing to do. And all of a sudden it just came together spontaneous.
Mm.
And today we have the weekend alone and the kids are gone. And he said, why don't we go skiing for the weekend? I was like, oh my God, like I was just thinking, okay, we're gonna be home and it's gonna be a quiet weekend, but I'm like, yeah, he's like, we'll stay slope side and we'll just make it really, elegant. And I'm like, of course. So within all of that, I'm sharing this because I followed the feeling, the
Mhm.
potential of the energy rather than what I had to do in
Mhm.
order to create something.
Mhm.
And the creation was even bigger than I thought it was. And it included so many more aspects and dimensions. And I'm like, I just want to keep playing in this field. So, the structure of my business is built. I know how to do sales and enrollment, and I'm really great at that. And now it's just this ease and this flow that's coming in for, wealth creation and service.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's where.
Beautiful. Thank
Mhm.
you. I
That was
love
the biggest breakthrough.
Yes. So, number four,
Mhm.
what is the golden nugget that you have or you use to help yourself to move on or shift or transform in a daily basis?
Mhm.
How you do it and what does it require from you?
Okay. So I look at my relationship with myself.
Mm-hmm.
So first of all, it's an internal thing. If something isn't aligning in my life or I feel stuck, I'll go inward and I'll ask what is stuck. And if there is a wall up in my heart, I will first know that I have to feel a feeling, right? Because anytime we have walls up that's separating us from what we desire, it's because there's something that hasn't been expressed or identified, but I will express it. And because I have a lot of time alone, my husband works outside the house. I'm basically home alone most of the day. I do a lot of talking to myself and talking to
Mm-hmm.
God. Okay, this is not okay with me right now, right? And I'm willing to go into emotions. I'm willing to be raw if I need to. I'm willing to have the conversations that I need to have, as well as like reach out to support when I need it, and have conversations with people. Um, I surround myself with people who support me and who can hear me and who I also support, and you know it's like a mutual thing. And then I'll let that go and I'll choose to do something that feels really good to me. So
Mm-hmm.
um I've been enjoying nourishing myself through cooking. I've been enjoying working out and growing strength and endurance, and through physical exertion. I'm an athlete. I love family time, and my biggest breakthroughs have come through relationships and building relationships with love. If there is a breakdown in relationship and I feel it, I will know it immediately. And I will say, how do I align myself with love? And I will immediately see a shift in an outer reality when
Mm-hmm.
it comes to love. And this becomes so joyful. And it is so simple to do once you understand that you're in control of your inner space.
Mm-hmm.
So what I think, if I could pass one thing on, a golden nugget, is align your relationships with love.
Mm-hmm.
In you, even your hardest relationship, your hardest relationship, if you aligned that relationship with love, you're going to unlock so much abundance. Because my ex-husband taught me this. I had so much resentment built up for someone who hurt me, took my kids away. I had such a huge story around it.
Mm-hmm.
And that story is now aligned with love and understanding and compassion and a friendship and a peace that has freed me and freed up so much energy to be able to be loved by my children in a way I never could have imagined, to be loved by my stepchildren, to be loved. Because when you hold back love and you have walls up around your heart, you must understand that that is holding back everything. That is holding back God's promise. So the biggest thing that I do every day is I choose love. I choose to do the inner work. I choose to be supported, and I choose to have fun. Even if that having fun is like, oh, I'm gonna watch Netflix, or I'm gonna just stay on the couch for a day, which I do love to do. So I mean, having like a whole a, a huge life full of all the things that I love to do, and also being willing to do the things that I don't love to do, because that
Mm-hmm.
is a secret. If you can get good at doing the things that you don't like to do, and going into those really tough spaces, oh, that's where all the gold is. That's all the goodness is.
Definitely. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Oh my God. So amazing. I don't think that you gave us only one golden nugget. It was like a
20.
few of them. Yes. Through there. So
Feeling abundant.
uh, tell the viewers where they can find you.
Um, well, I do have a free gift. Are you doing free gifts?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I do have a free gift link, and I feel like it's going to be about God's promise. So this is
Mm-hmm.
for people who really feel this awakening inside and curious. What does God promised you? Like
Mm-hmm.
really? Like I know that it's even better than you could ever imagine, and it is connected to the dream that you've always had. So, unlocking God's promise. I know what it's going to be. It's going to be a roundtable discussion that I am creating with my soul sisters next
Mm,
week, a 12-12 portal. And yeah, that's what I'm going to share because it's going to be revolutionary and it's an extravaganza. So
awesome.
that will be my free gift. I'll give you guys access to that.
Awesome. Beautiful. So just give it to me and I'll put it in the bio. Thank you, Carrie. Thank you for being with us and giving us your golden nuggets so we can use them to go into 2025 in a totally different vibe and
Yes.
having the year of our dreams for sure.
Awesome. Thank you, Carla. Thank you, everybody, for listening and have a great 2025
Yeah,
and
bye-bye, everybody.
beyond.
Sorry, you said what?
And beyond.
On beyond, definitely. Bye-bye.